Hello, North London derby this week. Liverpool with a commanding victory over Wolves, Bayern held against Leipzig, Barcelona struggling against Cadiz. An entertaining weekend. I'm Adrian. If you like multiple videos per week on football, then consider subscribing. But try before you buy, don't be too hasty. See if you like the vibe and make the decision for yourself. Alright? Let's get into it. Apologies if there's any noise in the background, but hey, Real Madrid had a tough task in taking on Sevilla in Sevilla this weekend, and you would excuse any Madridistas for feeling a bit nervous, even though Sevilla haven't really been at the peak of their powers lately. And for both sets of fans, they would have been screaming at the players on the pitch, as neither really dominated. Maybe in the second half, Sevilla really took it to Real, but it was a pretty even match. The winner coming from a blunder by Bono. 1-0 win for Real Madrid. They needed that in order to snap their 3-match winless run. What I found interesting in this match was how, given how exhausted Real Madrid look, Zidane only used one substitution, while Lopetegui used all 5 available to him. But I guess, recently I heard this video in which Wenger was talking about the importance of snapping a losing streak. Heard a video, watched a video. The importance of snapping a losing streak and how 3 consecutive losses is considered a bona fide crisis at a club. So I guess snapping the winless run was of the utmost importance to Zidane at this point. Going in the opposite direction now, Barcelona had won 3 matches on the trot across all competitions, scoring 11 and conceding none along the way. But this weekend, they fell to the title team. They fell to the little team that could, the newly promoted giant killers, Cadiz. It was a strange one, and it was a match that Barcelona ultimately lost because of their own very frustrating mistakes. Such has been the case for many of the goals that Barcelona have conceded lately. Stupid mistakes at the back. Whether it's Ter Stegen from a few matches ago, or Lenglet in this one. This, plus their inability to break down teams that park the bus in certain matches, that's their season so far. An attack that is inconsistent and a defense that is prone to making mistakes. Barcelona lost 2-1. Cadiz have now beaten both Real Madrid and Barcelona, as well as getting draws against Villarreal and Granada. Not too bad at all for Cadiz and their fans. Real Valladolid looked to have turned their season around after consecutive victories over Bilbao and Granada, but this weekend they went away to the Wanda Metropolitano with the stern task of getting a result away to Atletico Madrid. The rise of Thomas Lemar is in full effect as he put in yet another fantastic performance for Atletico. After 56 minutes, Kieran Trippier picked him out at the back post and he finished from a very acute angle. How can you not be happy for this guy? It seemed like he was finished at Atletico, but he has stuck around. And with seemingly most of the Atletico attackers finding some form this season, he's no exception, scoring his first goal in 45 matches for Atletico. His last one, April of 2019. Later, Trippier got another assist, this time setting up Marcos Llorente's first goal in a month now. And things are rosy at Atletico. They haven't lost since the 4-0 drubbing in Munich back in October, but they have a big week ahead of them, don't they? Champions League qualification on the line against a tricky RB Salzburg side, and then Real Madrid on the weekend in the Madrid derby. Anything can happen there. Real Betis are quietly having a perhaps successful season. Isn't a great call as they have 7 losses from 12. But at least the rest of the matches are wins, glass half full. This weekend they snapped their 3-match losing streak with a 2-0 win over Osasuna thanks to 2 late-ish goals. Manuel Pellegrini trying to balance this team, another solid performance from Fekir, and the midfield pairing of Carvalho and Rodriguez. And Barca fans, by the way, another solid performance from Emerson at Real Betis as he continues to be one of Betis' best players. And with Villarreal and Real Sociedad both being held to 0-0 draws, Atletico was your runaway leader. Well, the potential to be so if they win their 2 matches in hand. They stand alone at the top for now with Sociedad and Villarreal in tow. Real in 4th and Barcelona have slipped back down to 9th. Coming into the North London derby, Sky highlighted how poorly Arsenal are really doing in the attack, pointing out that they rank 17th for goals scored in the league with just 10, tied for 18th for shots on target, and are tied for dead last as far as chance creation goes in the league. This is a team that is completely impotent, with Mourinho being a devilishly clever man. The game plan would have been simple for him. With the complete lack of venom in the attack, with the inability to break through a low block match after match, just sit back. Let them dilly-dally on the ball around the box and then hit them on the break. Pretty much how it went. Rob Holding gave Son way too much room because despite Spurs breaking relatively quickly in the other direction, Arsenal still had enough players back to defend. So it's a bit of a split for me, Holding giving Son too much room and Son just producing a 10-on-10 strike into that corner. He was really holding R1 for that. Finesse. Maybe Leno's positioning wasn't quite 10-on-10, but still, take nothing away from that strike. It was a stunner. The second goal, same sort of idea. Spurs broke quickly, getting 4 men forward against 2 Arsenal defenders. So Arsenal were way too far forward. And Kane and Son combined again, this time the Englishman rifling the ball in off the crossbar. Sensational stuff. As I said on Twitter, it really reminded me of Mourinho's Madrid that broke the record for the most goals scored in a La Liga season. Arsenal, as per the script, failed to create genuine scoring chances, the best of which just coming from crosses, as Lacazette forced to save out of Lloris, and Oba and Saka headed over the bar. But beyond that, a big shrug of a match. Their ranking in chance creation, shots, and goals that I mentioned earlier are all merited at this point. And when you look at the headlines of, Arteta saying, we had 23 crosses or 33 crosses into the box in their last match. And just by math, simple math, one of those has got to go in eventually. That doesn't sound like a good game plan to me. Just cross after cross after cross. And seeing how Arsenal's best chances just came from crosses and they weren't even spectacular chances, really. Worrying stuff in the attack for Arsenal. Kevin De Bruyne and Man City took care of Fulham early as he set up Sterling after 5 minutes and then converted a penalty later in the first half to kill the game off. This could have been a goleada, if not for some better finishing from City, but hey, they could have had 4, 5, even 6 in this one. They were held at just 2, so unfortunate for them. Another clean sheet for City though, as the resurrection of John Stones continues. Another great performance from him alongside Ruben Dias. Man United went behind against West Ham right before halftime as Rice's flick to the back post saw Souček convert, and man, Sebastian Haller should have made it 2-0 just a couple of minutes later as United's defense was in shambles, but the man slipped. With a relatively open goal standing on the edge of the 6-yard box, he slipped, so tragic for West Ham. However, it looked like he may have been, a toenail offside. United got back into it from a lovely hoofed ball by Dean Henderson, and with Bruno Fernandes dishing to Pogba, the Frenchman hit a beauty to tie the match. Fantastic curling strike from him. Did the ball go out of play? It certainly looks like it from this angle, but without the proper angle to see it, I can't say conclusively whether it did or not. Anyway, a few minutes later, Greenwood turned it around with a lovely finish. Happy to see him scoring after the last few months in which the media has tried to bring the kid down. Speaking of which, the way he brought the ball down from that driven cross before lashing it past Fabianski, so impressive. Marcus Rashford with a third, also impressive. 3-1 United, good win from them as the absolute hot and cold form of their season continues. Chelsea versus Leeds, and this match was monumental in that we saw the first real mistake from their keeper Edouard Mendy since his arrival from Rennes in September. Bamford was played through from a beautiful diagonal ball, and Mendy came flying out of his goal and completely misjudged it, leaving an empty goal for Bamford to open the scoring. Later, Timo Werner made an absolute mess of a chance. He made a mess of a lot of chances. A bit unlucky though, And as the ball was seemingly going in, perhaps it was heading for the post, I can't say for sure, but it looked like Werner actually blocked the ball from going in and then flicked it off the crossbar. Really bad day for him in the finishing department. No bother though, as Olivier Giroud scored once again, his 6th goal in 4 matches for Chelsea, his first start for Chelsea this season in the Premier League as well. Zuma, he later headed in from a corner. Werner got some redemption by scoring to Pulisic in stoppage time, so 3-1 Chelsea, another solid win from them. Crystal Palace got a massive 5-1 victory over West Brom, Wilf Zaha and Christian Benteke, each scoring a brace in the process. Go on, Uncle Roy. Uncle Chris, however, Chris Wilder, will have gone to bed brokenhearted this Sunday after his side lost by a single goal yet again, and this time it was at home against Leicester in the 90th minute. Jamie Vardy with the finishing blow, and it always looked like it was coming eventually. Sheffield, again, offered next to nothing going forward. McBurney's goal was an outlier, while Leicester were strong throughout, and deserving winners by my book. Sheffield, if they just had a little more potency in the attack, now we'd be talking. And speaking of deserved winners, Liverpool were very much deserved winners against Wolves, as their Sunday evening match ended with a big 4-0 victory. Mo Salah with some great predatory instincts for the opener, Gini Wijnaldum with a stunning strike to make it 2-0, Joel Matip getting in on the fun, and Nelson Semedo helped a Sadio Mane attempt into the back of the net as he was desperate to get back. Liverpool fans will be happy to see Alexander-Arnold back on the pitch again. Speaking of getting back, it was his delivery that caused that fourth goal for Liverpool. So, Spurs and Liverpool sit atop the table. Chelsea is right behind them on 22 points with Leicester and Manchester United back in business in 5th place, a win in their match in hand, and they're back in the money. To find Arsenal, you're going to have to go to the bottom half of the table as they sit in 15th and are f***ing up all of my predictions. In Germany, Union Berlin's great run of form was brought to an end thanks to a 23rd minute red card to Robert Andrich. Man, how he cost his team as Union were actually leading Hertha in the Berlin derby at that point. But in the second half, as Hertha were 1 goal down and 1 man up, they equalized, setting the stage for Christoph Piatek to score a 3-minute brace to win the match for Bruno Labbadia's men. 3-1 Hertha. They really needed that win more than Union, but unfortunate for Union as they missed out on the top 4 for this week. Not that, making top 4 in December means anything. Borussia Dortmund went away to Eintracht Frankfurt and another match without Haaland, another match that they have failed to win. As I said in last week's Champions League review, their Bundesliga win percentage drops by 52% when he's not in the lineup, and that rang true once again this weekend. Despite largely dominating the ball, Frankfurt had the more dangerous scoring opportunities and looked the more likely to take the lead in this game, but 1-1 was the final. More questions to be asked of Lucien Favre after another uninspired performance from that team. Despite all the skill. In spite of all the skill. Plenty of draws across Germany, however, as Gladbach tied 2-2 with Freiburg, Köln in a 2-2 draw with Wolfsburg, and of course, the highlight match of the weekend, Bayern Munich versus RB Leipzig. A frustrating one as blunders defensively cost both teams. From 4 shots on target, Leipzig scored 3 goals. Not that Leipzig's defense was any better in that regard. After Bayern went 2-1 up thanks to goals from Musiala, hey, shout out him, and Thomas Müller, Leipzig stormed back to go ahead 3-2. But this match was the Kingsley Coman show, at least in Bayern's regard. And he delivered a 3rd assist. He got a hat-trick of assists for Thomas Müller's 2nd goal. 3-3 the final, Bayern dropping points one more time. And with Bayern dropping points, Bayer Leverkusen had the chance to come within a single point as they went away to the basement boxing bag that is Schalke. And yes, I realize that they are called punching bags and not boxing bags, though that doesn't make for a good alliteration, does it? An own goal against Schalke? Check. Schalke having a penalty saved? Check. Losing 3-0 at home? Check. It had all the hallmarks of the tragic league form that Schalke has, and I'm not trying to be funny in saying that they look hopeless. It's just a fact at this point when you add in what's happening behind the scenes. They're going for that 31 matches without a win record. So, as alluded to, Leverkusen do indeed move within a point of Bayern Munich following that result. Leipzig, they're also just 2 points away from first place. Leverkusen and Wolfsburg are the only 2 teams that are undefeated at the moment. In Italy, the rains washed out Atalanta versus Udinese. That match was postponed due to the pitch flooding, unfortunately. Maybe Atalanta needed that break, you know? But Lazio versus Spezia went on without a hitch, or a flood, rather. And early doors, Spezia looked decent. They had a strike cannon off the post, but a mistake in the midfield after 15 minutes led to Immobile getting played through, and he rolled it under the keeper. He's lethal. Of course he's going to do that. But back to Spezia, they really impressed me in this one, and were extremely unlucky not to equalize shortly after, and even more unlucky to concede such a beautiful free kick from Milinkovic-Savic after half an hour. They didn't deserve to be 2-0 down. They did pull one back in the 62nd minute, a stunning goal from Minzola, but it stayed at 2-1 Lazio. The Turin derby was dominated by Juventus, a Juventus side that simply didn't have their finishing boots on in this weekend. Wayward finishing from them, as they controlled this match basically from start to finish, besides when Turin scored after just 9 minutes. As per the trend this season, Juan Cuadrado was once again Juve's best player as he racked up 2 assists in 12 minutes to give Juve the win. Weston McKennie got the equalizer, Leonardo Bonucci with the game winner. Juve's still undefeated. Inter Milan got a 3-1 victory over Bologna in a match where Hakimi looked very strong. He's shown flashes of quality throughout his time at Inter thus far, but he's struggled to find the form that he was in on a regular basis while with Dortmund. But before he left a mark on this match, Lukaku scored his 8th of the season as he showed his strength in bullying the defender before slapping it in. He could have had a second in the 33rd minute, but he shot when perhaps he should have rounded the keeper. I know. Easy for me to say, right? What do I know? But then Hakimi doubled the lead from a beautiful ball over the top from Brozovic, and later in the second half he made it 3-0 from a fantastic solo effort. 3-1 the final, 3 wins on the trot for Inter. Napoli got their second win on the trot with a big 4-0 victory, their second consecutive 4-0 victory, this time over Crotone. Crotone were actually hanging in there, just 1 goal down until Jacopo Petriccione got himself sent off for landing his studs on the ankle of Diego Dem. Can't do that, my friend. Dem would get his revenge later with a goal, not before Lozano made it 2-0 though. Lozano, by the way, with what was his 5th goal in 9 appearances, really putting last season behind him, isn't he? Dem scored a solid goal, and Andrea Petagna made it 4-0 with his 2nd goal of the season. And finally, AC Milan were without some key players such as Zlatan, Benacer, and Simon Kjaer, but they got one of those character wins that a team needs now and then. One of those ugly, grinded out, pedestrian wins against Sampdoria as they won 2-1 away, a couple of solid saves from Donnarumma in this one, a penalty from Kessié to get them going, and a well-taken goal from substitute Samu Castillejo just 1 minute after coming onto the pitch. Smart work from the returning Stefano Pioli, and then he went and celebrated with the team, and deservedly so. Good call by him. AC Milan remain unbeaten. Better yet, they remain at the top of the table with the closest adversary of theirs being Inter, 5 points behind them. Napoli and Juve make the top 4 for now, while Sassuolo's draw with Roma means they don't move from their positions. And that's it from me, guys. Another big thanks to you for watching this video, and I hope that you learned something in it. My name's Adrian, I love ya, and I hope you have a great day. Ciao.